Welcome to CML, Ministry of the Evangelical Association of Angola. This is our placement here in Angola. I work here at the hospital as a general surgeon, and my wife works with the volunteer coordination team. They help people from Europe, the United States, Canada, and so on get to Angola, get their visas, accommodation, and so forth. And she also homeschools our daughter 3 times a week, actually. Just a little bit about CML. This is a ministry that started in 2007 with the goal of serving a population of southern Angola. So we have a catchment area of about 2.5 million people. We see anybody from the very poor to some people who can actually afford a little bit more. And we'll talk about that sometime later. We do surgery, it's our main thing here, but we see everything from general medicine, obstetrics, pediatrics, and so on. Currently we have 3 general surgeons on staff. We have 7 interns that do a program for 2 years, and then they are free to go. Our last class of 6, they all applied to different places. One of them moved to a mission hospital in Kavango, which is a 12-hour drive from here, but not really far, probably 150 miles from here. And then the other one moved to Kalukembe Mission Hospital, about 2.5 hours from Lubango. And then the other 4 were accepted to programs in the government hospitals. So they are serving out there, helping to improve the care. One of them actually came back to us and is now doing a residency in family medicine in Brazil. And hopefully in a year or 2, we'll be back and be able to increase our staff here and be able to train other Angolans as well. That's really what we do around here. It is a gospel-based environment, so we are free to share the gospel with people at any turn. I pray with my patients before surgery. I pray with the patients in the wards when doing rounds, and we have devotions twice a week, one with the general population on Mondays and one with the staff on Thursday mornings. It's an environment that Christ is shared freely, and people are very receptive to the message. That's our ministry in Angola so far. We have just arrived from the US, so we are new to the ministry in terms of being SIM missionaries. We just started in January. But we have been in Angola before. We did work at this particular hospital for 2.5 years in 2012. And then we moved on to Gabon, where we did the general surgery training with the Pan-African Academy of Christian Surgeons, PACS. And we finished that in January of 2020. Did a short stint in Angola before we headed back to the US to finish our process with SIM. And we came back this January as full-time missionaries with SIM. So we are taking a walk. I'm going to show you the village where family members of patients live. You'll see what the idea is to keep the patients closer to us. So we are outside of the fenced area around the hospital. And as you can see on your left there, we have the back of it. So we have the operating rooms, the laundry, the morgue, and the incinerator in the far back there. and we are walking towards the village. The village is basically a concept that was developed back in the days at other mission hospitals, because a lot of the patients have to come with their families, and we usually don't have accommodation for those families. So people start building small rooms closer to the hospital so that those people can stay there. And the other thing is that most hospitals, to keep the costs down, can't afford to give food to the patient. So this family member that comes with the patient is basically their cook for that time. So they stay close by, and then they're able to bring food in the morning, afternoon, and evening. And they're basically their private chefs during that time. This village also houses our sisters that are in the program for the fistula repair. They come to us from places as far as BS, so 300-400 miles away from here. And they can stay with us up to a year, sometimes more. So they become a little family that some of them don't even know each other. Some of them come from the southern part of the country and some from the northern part of the country. And they get back together here, and that's, yeah, they become a family during this time that they're here for treatment. Surgeries for them may be 1 and maybe 5. So some of them stay 3 months and some of them may stay up to 1.5 years just to get everything. Bom dia! Tudo bem? Okay. Tá bom. So this is the entrance. We have a manager. We have somebody that actually takes care of the property and checks everything out. Bom dia. There's a lot of, it was a different place a couple of years ago, so we decided to do a few upgrades that help, that are culturally acceptable. So we now have bathrooms with showers in there so people can actually wash there. We have a place for laundry, so they do laundry by hand. And not very common to use washing machines in the village, so people use what is available, and that's why you see the tanks over there. And then the rooms are set up in rows, right? So as you can see, everybody has their own entrance. Most people cook outside, and that's how we want it, so we can avoid the other problems. So, bom dia, tio.
Bom dia.
Tudo bem?
Obrigado.
Isso. So rooms are very basic, and they put a bed in there. There's usually a bed frame and a mattress in the room. And then depending on whether they need more people, they add mattresses on the floor. One of the things, I'm just going to talk to this gentleman here. Bom dia, papá.
Bom dia, sim.
Tudo bem?
Passou bem.
Ah, isso.
Aí,
Eu estou bem.
ok.
Qual é a operação que fizemos, papá? Ah, foi a perna.
É o Pedro.
Ah, ok. Já operaram?
Já.
Já.
Ah,
Tá bom. Agora só está à espera para ir para casa?
aqui está à espera para ele no análise, eu não sei.
Na consulta?
Na consulta,
Ah,
para me largar um dia para ir em casa.
ok.
Para
Tá bom.
ela para tirar ele.
Ok. Yeah. Tá bom. Só estamos a explicar um pouco o ministério que estamos a fazer aqui.
Tá bem, tá bem.
Então, eu queria aproveitar e perguntar ao tio. O pai vem da onde?
Menonga.
Menong. Ok. Tá bom. Tá bom. So this gentleman came from Menongi. That's a train ride. It's an overnight train ride. Roads are pretty bad. It probably takes about 12 hours from here. Menongi is on the southeast corner of the country. A place that suffered a lot during the war. The population there had some very major hardships during that time. And so this gentleman came from there to us for an orthopedic procedure. And because of the distance, they're unable to come and go. So they prefer to stay here for the duration of their treatment, and then whenever we give them the okay to go, they'll go home and spend the 6 months at home and then come back. So it's cost effective for them staying here. They have the basics, and the family's home can send them a little bit of money so they don't go hungry. But yeah, so it's another blessing of having this village here, because it provides affordable housing for people. Muito obrigado, Papa.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah? Tá bom. Aí, vais cozinhar maçaroca?
No.
Tá bom. I just asked him if he's going to cook his corn over there. Yeah. We can go this way. So the reason why they paved, or this is stone and concrete, this allows them to walk, because in the rainy season it gets pretty muddy out here. So this keeps the place a little bit clean. There's drainage, that way the water can get out of the village. Bom dia. Bom dia, mamãe.
Bom dia.
Tudo bem?
Sim.
Ok. Hey, ainda estás aqui?
Sim.
Yeah. Está bom.
Agora estou aqui, ainda não me deram vaca.
Isso. A ferida está a curar?
Sim, está curando.
E você já está a correr? Ainda não. Por quê? Ainda tens medo? Ah, ok. As suturas já tiraram?
Sim, já.
Já? Tá bom. Tá bom. Então, a vossa casa é onde?
É aqui,
Não, no vosso quimbo.
em Benguela.
Em Benguela? Benguela cidade ou Benguela no Cubalo, no Caimbambo?
Em Benguela.
Em Benguela mesmo. Tá bom, tá bom. Eu nasci em Benguela, eu nasci na Ganda.
Ah, é?
Yeah,
Tá bom.
yeah. Tá bom, tá
Eu
bom.
também nascemos no Cuba.
Você nasceu no Cubalo?
Yeah.
Ah, tá bom. Yeah. Yeah, so this young lady was with us. She had an intra-abdominal abscess that we drained, and her recovery has been a little bit slow, but she's definitely looking a lot better. When I arrived back here at the hospital about 2.5 weeks ago, she could barely walk, so she's sitting up and happy that she's getting better. Hopefully she'll go home next week. But again, another example of having the time, the place to recuperate, and then go home to their place. It's Benguela is about 4 hours, 4.5 hours by car. The road is iffy in some places, so yeah, it wouldn't be fun to be in the car with a wound like that. Bom dia, mamãe.
Bom dia, doutor.
Como é?
Tá indo.
Tá indo? Você, eu estou bem.
Tá bem.
Você que plantou tudo isso?
Sim.
Ah, sim senhora. Tem chacacindo, tem...
É isso.
Che.
Olha, tem milho aí.
Tem milho aí. Ó, ali atrás. Che, você vai viver já aqui, né? Vamos te construir lá a casa.
Ah, olha, pode construir.
Ah.
Minha casa não quer aqui dentro, quer
Ah.
fora.
All right, so this is the part where our Fistula sisters live. And as you can see, a lot of upgrades were made. So they have their own toilets, they have their own showers, running water is available to them with electricity. So they are able to have their own space to do. The Fistula program is sponsored by several organizations, the Fistula Foundation in the US, Hope for Our Sisters based out of Boston, and some other very gracious donors in the United States and Canada really helped this program keep going. This mural was actually painted by several volunteers that just came out and made it look a lot lively. So it's quite exciting. People can come and enjoy their time here. During their time here, a lot of these young ladies come from places. Bom dia.
Bom dia, how are you?
Good, good, good.
Vamos atrapalhar?
No, no faz mal. So some of these ladies come from very poor backgrounds. Some of them never had a chance to go to school. Some of them actually never learned how to read or like basic life skills. So we take this time to actually help them develop. So they have sewing lessons, they have literacy classes available to them in the hopes that at the end of their time here, they find physical healing from their fistulas. They gain some knowledge, whether it is writing or cooking or sewing. And some of them actually learn business skills so that whenever they go back, they are able to do something to earn money. One of the things that happens with these ladies is also that their families basically shun them when they get into this problem. So they literally, a lot of them are alone when they leave their villages. It's very rare that some of them come with a family member or a husband that cares. Most husbands, once one of the ladies has a fistula, they run away. So I was actually very happy to see the other day, coming back from a flight from Kalokembe, we brought back one of the patients with a family member. That was pretty exciting because usually you don't see that. It's just a lady alone trying to find a way here. So yeah, so I think we can walk in there, we just take a look. Come on, oh, you're good. All right. So this is a room they're just doing, crafts and all that stuff. They make anything from scrub caps to necklaces to. No faz mal. And so it's a very interesting and rewarding thing because they feel like they're learning a new thing. They come from different places in the country, and then we have our colleagues here to help them with the skills and crafts, and they organize things for them. Irene is from the Netherlands, and and then Jenny is Angolan. She speaks English, so don't let her fool you. Yeah, and the ladies are from all over the place. They are from all over Angola, and some of them just hear about it by word of mouth, and they bring their friends, and sometimes you have busloads, sometimes you only have one. We'll later see some of the ladies, of the sisters that have been operated on already. And that'll be exciting to see. Some of them were on their way to go home because if they're dry after their surgery, they come out of the hospital, they pack up and they go home, excited for a new beginning for them. Papandula? I think that's their storage room. So. Tudo bem, mano? Já voltaste, né?
Sim.
Isso.
Yeah.
Já fizeram o teste de novo?
Sim.
Já?
Sim.
Vamos fazer mais quando? Agora tens que esperar, né?
Dia 16.
Dia 16 do próximo mês ou desse mês?
Esse mês.
Esse mês. Vão repetir a operação? Ou fazer o teste? Dia 16. Tá bom. Yeah. So sometimes patients have to go home because they have family matters that they need to attend to. This is one of the ladies that had a family matter to attend to, so we had to stop her treatment. She went home with all the things that we could give her, but she's back, so she will restart and see what we can do. Okay. Papandula? Ciao, yeah?
Tchau.
Okay.
Obrigada.
So these little things that you see out here are called fogareiros. Okay, it's just a very tiny grill, I guess. And this is what they do. That's how they cook their food. Bom dia, mama.
Bom dia.
Walale po.
Tualale.
Ah,
Ano wala?
etu tualale. Amenduleki sango o hita iove. O pica hita. Aumbisi. É cogumelo? Cogumelo, turtulho. Sim, senhora. Yeah. Yeah. So in place of gas, they use coals, and that's how they make their food. So it's beautiful. Yeah. Oh, and this lady is probably trying to show us. Hoje não vou comprar nada, mas já posso mostrar aos nossos amigos. This is one of the things they do here. They produce these things. They're little baskets, woven baskets, that then we are able to sell, and they can make a little bit of money for themselves, and that can help them stay well here. One of the nice things about this program is that these ladies literally don't have to pay for anything while they're here. It's all underwritten by donors, and so they're getting skills, they're learning skills, they're hearing the gospel, and then hopefully they are prepared to go home and have a new start in life, but they don't have to spend anything. Even their transportation coming from their houses to the hospital is paid for, and the transportation back to their homes. So this is quite awesome. Very exciting for them. Yeah. Tua pandula, mama. Walale po. Etu tualale. Tumalako. Chiwa. Kimbolio pi. Kowambu. Okay. Kowambu sapitiline ko andi. Sapitiline ko andi. Quafina. Okay. Yeah. So she's from Wambu province, the central part of Angola. And she's here also for a fistula repair. So we seem to see a lot of people from that province, and the province that's just east of them, southeast of them, Bie, they also seem to have a lot of patients coming to us from those places. Yeah. So this is basically it. Vocês voltaram já?
Sim.
Yeah. And yeah, as you can see, it's all fenced. We like fences in Angola. I think every property here has some sort of a wall to protect them, and this gives them some privacy. You avoid people walking in just through the village and stealing stuff. Yeah, so you have one entry point, and you can control that. This is all inside the hospital property, so it will stay in hospital property as the hospital expands. But it provides a nice place for people to stay and live for however many days and weeks they have to stay with us. Okay, Papa.
Okay.
Até logo. Sim, senhor. Yeah. Yeah, one exciting thing is also, malaria is very prominent around this area, so you have quite a big a number of cases. Bom dia, man.
Bom dia.
You have a lot of cases of malaria. So one of the things we encourage people is to actually use mosquito nets. They are available, they should be free, but a lot of the times they're not, so sometimes the patients have to use them, but we encourage them to use them. Getting prophylaxis can be very difficult for most people. Some of them are just looking for bread for the next day, so asking them to pay for medication could be very difficult, so very few people are actually on prophylaxis. So we encourage the use of mosquito nets, spraying the houses with different things so that you can actually avoid the mosquitoes in the house and hopefully diminish the amount of malaria. However, we still get a lot of malaria in the hospital. We usually at our place, we see patients that are way far ahead because they tried something else somewhere and they come here as a last resort. So a lot of the times it's a little bit touch and go, but the Lord is good. A lot of them go home walking. So yeah, so that's the village. A nice place that people can stay. It's not a Ritz-Carlton or anything, but it provides the basic accommodations for people, and it's affordable. They're able to spend their time here, and eventually they go home and they find the physical help that they were looking for. I think we'll go back to the hospital now and go do some rounding with patients there, and I'll maybe while we're walking back, I can tell you a little bit about the interns program. So we are back at the hospital. We're just gonna go through and I'll show you around a little bit. We're gonna go to the men's and women's wards. One of the consequences of COVID was that the government had asked us to open up some space to help with the load of COVID cases. So we are gonna go down there and I'll show you a little bit of what we have done. So that's the entrance to the men's and women's ward. And what we did is we blocked this side off so that people with COVID, all the COVID cases go to this side, and that's where they stay for their duration. And there's a barrier inside, so we don't use those rooms. Bom dia, mano.
Bom dia, senhor.
Tudo bem?
Obrigado, doutor.
All right. So just a little bit. So we divided the place into two sides. We have the men's side on this side. They have 12 beds of normal rooms, and then we have 4 beds in private rooms. Those rooms are used by people who request them, so they pay a little bit more to stay in there. They have a microwave, a fridge, and a TV, and their own private showers. And one of the things that happens with that also is that it provides income to pay for patients that have less money or they are unable to pay. So it has been very beneficial to people who are needing help, financial help. And then we have a pediatric room here. The pediatric room has 7 beds. It is not very big. Again, we started some time ago, and we are in the process of expanding. So our surgical and medical cases all go in there. We can take up to 7 children in there, and then if we need to, then we use the private rooms as a place to care for those kids. Right now, we actually have 1 patient in there. I wonder if we can talk to them. Bom dia, mamãe. Como é? Tudo bem?
Sim, obrigada.
All right. O bebê está a dormir, né?
Sim.
Okay. So this young baby is about 4 weeks old, was diagnosed with hydrocephalus intrauterine, so during our ultrasounds and prenatal ultrasounds. And so we were able to do her procedure, a VP shunt. VP shunt was done a couple of days ago. So she's recovering and done well so far. And if nothing else happens, they'll probably be on their way home sometime soon. Quando é que vão para casa?
Não sei ainda.
Ainda não disseram? Não. Tá tudo bem?
Tá tudo bem.
O bebê está a mamar?
Sim.
Isso.
Muito bem.
Ok.
Sim.
Muito bom. E vocês vieram de onde?
Viemos já mudar aqui da cidade.
Da cidade de Lubango. Okay, so they don't come from very far. They're actually coming from Lubango. But it's good to hear that people with this problem can actually come to us. This is another thing that we provide to patients, the service that we provide to patients here, highly subsidized. The organization that provides the shunts basically makes that cost very minimal for the patient. They only have to pay for their bed, basically. So it's very affordable, and if the parents can't even afford that, there's always a social fund that can cover for that. So these kids are not neglected. We sometimes get kids with hydrocephalus that are way beyond the 56 centimeters that we set as our limit. And that's because people travel around the country until they actually find somebody who's willing to tackle the problem. So our prayer is that the young man will go home sometime soon and have a good recovery and become a good citizen of Angola. All right, so that's our pediatric. We don't have anybody else. We actually sent everybody home today. The men's ward is full again of different cases. Most of them are surgical, and most of them are from far away. So a lot of the family members that we saw at the village have a patient over here who's been operated on, and now they're just waiting to go home. Yesterday, for example, we did a prostatectomy on somebody, and he's here recovering, and Lord willing, in 2 or 3 days, they can go home and come back the following week. There's people that have multiple fractures. There's people that have simple things like infected bone. Osteomyelitis is one of the things that happens quite a lot. It's a disease that in the West pretty much doesn't exist anymore, but because of nutritional debilities in our country and other African countries, we do see a lot of these cases. And so these kids come, sometimes adults come, and they have this problem for a long time, and it takes a long time for us to get to the bottom of it and encourage them to have diets that are a little bit more nutritious, and they are able then to recover and go back to their homes. Sometimes it takes a couple of months, sometimes it takes years, but eventually they get better. Just let me see if there's anybody here. Yeah, we have a patient here. So this is our private rooms. Bom dia, papá.
Bom dia, doutor.
Como está?
Estou bem, obrigado.
Ok. Eu também estou bem.
Ok.
Só estamos aqui a mostrar um pouco do hospital.
Exatamente.
E só estou a explicar um pouco da...
Está bom, está bom.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Eu hoje vou.
Hoje vai para casa.
É?
Sim, senhora.
Só estou à espera do...
Do título de alta.
Não, já está. Só falta o miúdo vir
Vai buscar.
fazer o... Yeah.
Ok. Tá bom, papá.
E
E
muito obrigado.
controlamos a sua diabetes.
Controlar.
Ok.
E de que maneira?
Ok. Sim, senhora.
Muito obrigado
Yeah.
a todos vocês.
Obrigado. Obrigado nós pela confiança. Yeah, so it's a basic room, has 2 beds. They have a microwave, they have their TV, their private showers and stuff. So, yeah, it's comfortable. The floors are heated. So one thing that we think sometimes is that it's always hot in Africa. It's never going to be cold. But these floors are actually heated. So in the winters, it can get to like, the lower teens. Lower teens, Fahrenheit, -5, -10 Celsius sometimes with the wind. And people are really not used to that kind of cold. So having heated floors is actually a blessing. We don't have those in our house, so we have to wear socks and shoes. All right, so yeah, then on nurse station, which nobody's there right now, probably seeing 2 patients. We have a recovery room, that we bring out post-op patients to. Bom dia, mãe.
Bom dia.
Tudo bem? Yeah. Só estamos a mostrar aos nossos amigos o que é que a gente faz aqui no hospital. Okay? So this lady came to us with a complication post-op done elsewhere, and we discovered that she actually had bigger problems than she was told. But she is recovering well post-surgery, and Lord willing, one of these days she will go home as soon as she starts gaining a little bit of weight. Tá já a comer bem? Yeah? Hoje está a ver a urina, hoje já está um pouco mais claro. O casilo cunho vava? O chisangua? É melhor fazer chá também, mãe? Pode beber chá? Yeah, não faz mal. Líquido, não interessa. Se é água, só não beber canhome. Ok? Canhome não, yeah? Isso. Tá bom. Tchau, yeah? All right. So this side actually has more beds. We have a room that we use just for the fistula patients. So we have 8 beds that are just fistula, and I think we have 2 patients in the other room because we ran out of space. Bom dia. Wala lipo. Ay, so. Amendalale. So we have 8 patients from all sorts of places in Angola. This young lady came with us the other day from Kavango. She was on the flight with us, one of our medical flights, and she had her surgery. She's currently dry, and if she's dry for another week, she might be going home dry, and that's a big victory. It's a ministry that started at Bush Hospital. That patient is able to be transported by MAF to Lubango, gets their surgery, gets better. MAF takes them back to Kavango, and they go back to their village. So that's really what we're doing here. This lady is more than 60 years old. Again, she has a fistula that she couldn't get care for many years. And now here she is getting her care. She had her surgery. She's in a recovery stage. And hopefully she'll go home dry. It's a blessing to her because she probably struggled a lot in her life. She had this thing for such a long time, and people are not so nice to her, and it'll be really nice for her to go back home dry. So we're looking forward to that. Ovelinga valinhocho. Haka. É o coco sonha, né? Ana, tudo bem?
Tá tudo bem, doutor.
Okay. All right, so this is one of our private rooms again. And we have 2 patients here, long-term patients. Eu só estou a mostrar os nossos amigos aqui ao hospital. Tudo bem? Isso. So one other thing that we see in Angola a lot is sickle cell disease. And these patients come in quite often, but they stay with us not too long and they go home. So we have some of them. And then motor vehicle accidents are also the other thing that happens quite a lot in Angola because we have a lot of motorcycles. We probably have more motorcycles than we should. And so one of these patients in this room actually suffered a bilateral femur fractures, and she has really weak bones as well. So it was a very big operation that she had to undergo for what we have available. She is recovering well. She started her physio already, so Lord willing, sometime soon she will pack up and go home and continue physio, and Lord willing, she will be able to walk again. But yeah, so there's some of the things that happen here quite a lot. Motor vehicle accidents is one of those things that I think the event of cheap motorcycles without emphasis on safety, like wearing helmets and obeying traffic laws, has resulted in a huge amount of injuries, usually orthopedic cases that sometimes are way beyond what we can do for in this country. So yeah. All right. So, bom dia, papá.
Bom dia, pai.
Tudo bem?
Muito bem.
Isso.
Saúde aqui não está bom.
Ah, saúde não está bom.
Não está bom.
Ok. Está bom. O que é que se passa com o papá?
Um paciente de 58 anos de idade que no ano de 2018 teve
So, one of the things that we do here is we have 7 interns at the moment. These 7 interns are from different parts of the country. The doctor in this room, she went to school in Cuba. And what they do is they spend about 2 years with us. We do our basic surgeries, so they learn a little bit about cesareans, they learn how to do hernias, and also they just brush up on their medical skills, because when you come out of medical school, you're pretty green, and a lot of the times you actually don't know a lot. You actually don't know a lot, to be honest. And so this time helps people to learn a little bit about the pathologies that are more common in the region, what treatments we have, small tricks on how to solve problems, because eventually when they graduate from this program, they go to government hospitals, and sometimes they are placed in very difficult circumstances, and they might not have all the medications they need, they might not have all the equipment they need, and that becomes very difficult. So this 2 years that they spend with us is very important to start them off well. The goal is to do this. I mean, we're changing interns every 2 years, and eventually that allows us to make an impact on the healthcare system in the country. There's now, I think they've started now to do residencies, but before that, when I came to Angola in 2011, 2012, there were no residencies going on. So this is fairly new in Angola, and we're trying to do it hands-on. People actually have to do the work and not just sit behind a desk. And in that way, we are hoping that one day we are going to have an impact in the healthcare system. Like I said before, we had 6 that graduated in 2020, and 4 of them actually went to government hospitals. They were very well accepted. They are doing an awesome job, and they call if they need help. They transfer patients to us when they think, hey, this one might get lost in all the running around, so they call and we try to help them. And just they are a witness for Christ because of the things they learned here, and they carry that on to the hospitals where they're working. There are 2 that are in Brazil. Both of them will come back to us as family medicine docs. They're doing a residency in Brazil. The blessing of it is that it's in Portuguese, so they didn't have to learn a language. I had to learn French. I did my residency with PAX, so that was a different thing. So it's very nice that they can learn it in Portuguese and then not have to struggle with the translation in their brains when they come back here. So yeah, pray for this. This program needs people to come and help. We need trainers. If you have the time to come to Angola for 2 weeks, or come to Angola for 5 months, or for a year, we are looking at any specialties that can help: obstetrics, general surgery, orthopedics, family medicine. If you know something, we are willing to have you here. Ultrasound is the other thing. Radiology is the other thing. We can always find somebody that can learn something, and you can impart that knowledge to those people, and that would be very helpful. How can you get to Angola to help people like us, like the interns and us? My wife, actually, Amanda, works with the volunteer coordination team, and she's basically the person that gets you connected to the Angolan system, and they'll help you get a visa, help you get transport from the airport to us, and eventually they'll get you to Lubango, get you a place to stay, and find you some food, and make sure that you actually enjoy your time here. There's a lot of things to do. On the weekends, you can also go and see other places. It's a beautiful area. Lubango has many tourist attractions that for a very long time they were ignored, but nowadays they're easy to get to. So it won't be just work every day. There is quite a fair good amount of work to do, so we stay very busy. But again, it's very rewarding when we can plant seeds in interns here or doctors here in Angola, prepare them to serve the Lord. If not in a mission hospital, serve them in the state hospital, and help patients to recover well physically and spiritually. So, yeah. So this is the operating room. We have 2 ORs that we run. One of them has 2 beds and the other one has 1 bed. Looks like there's actually a case going on sometime today. So this is the reception area. We take them in, they check their documentation, they wait in here, and they go through those doors into the operating rooms. We do anything. There's anything from a foreign body in the ear, in the nose, in the eye, to like very bigger surgeries like hemiarthroplasties and so on. So you get everything there. We have most of our staff in the OR is Angolan. We have 2 surgeons that are expats and then 1 Angolan. And we currently have 1 visitor, also from Canada. People come, varies in times, and sometimes they come for 2 weeks, sometimes they come for months. I can actually show you around a little bit. All right, so we can probably just stand here. Sorry about that. All right, so we have 2 operating rooms. This one is not being used, so we can actually show you a little bit around. Because they'll clean it after we are gone. I'm gonna move this around because you can actually see a little bit. We can do 2 beds because we do minor surgeries in here. Minor, but we still have the capability of intubating, run the basic anesthesia here. We have also our endoscopy equipment stays in this room because this is where we do most of our scopes. We do about 15 scopes on average per week. Anything that shows up in the city actually that requires a scope usually comes to us, so we stay busy with that. Another thing that we get a lot are foreign bodies. Angola has now introduced coins to their currency, which means that kids think that it's a toy. They put them in their mouth and they get stuck in the esophagus. So a lot of the times we get back here at 2 in the morning to remove one of those foreign bodies. Sometimes they come from other provinces. They have to drive 5-6 hours to come to us so we can get those things out. The other thing we use this room for is ophthalmology. We do cataract surgeries and other eye surgeries. So we have a setup where the doctor can move from one bed to the other, and he can have 2 patients on the tables and move around. So it really allows, this is the multi-purpose room. There's a lot of things that we do here that is, yeah, I think it helps a lot of people. Yes, and then we have the bigger room, which is now being used, and so that's where we do our bigger procedures because there's more space. Yeah. I think later on they'll have a C-section. I'll just knock here and find out if they'll allow us to walk through. Bom dia. Posso passar por aqui só para introduzir ao pessoal? So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can come in. All right. So our maternity building is not done yet. Or we don't have one yet. And so we have to use a smaller space to do maternity stuff. So this is where they do their consults and they get ready for C-sections. And they also do their prenatal checks and vaccinations and all those things. Once they go through surgery or once they deliver, then they're moved to the wards, to the women's ward, where we have 2 private rooms, and that's where the newborns stay until they are free to go home. So that is the setup we have. We have the basic things. There's a nurse on call all the time, 24/7. And then one of us surgeons is on call as backup and checks on the patients. We also have a colleague that is part-time. She comes 3 times a week, does consults, and at the moment she's actually doing the big bulk of C-sections, so we don't have to be stuck doing obstetrics. We still do the other stuff, but if it happens during the day, the doctor is able to come up and do the surgeries for us. So that is a very good thing. Primeiro bebê? No, quarto. Primeira cesariana? Quarta cesariana.
É mãe de cesarianas.
Afinal, você não gosta daquela dor, não é?
Não consigo, não tenho bebê.
Está bom, está bom. Boa sorte aí. A doutora iria que vem fazer isso, não é?
Sim, sim.
Tá bom.
Estamos à espera dela.
Ok. Está bom. Yeah! Yeah! Tchau! Tchau!
Tá bem, filha. Vamos bem.
Não, pode passar. Pode entrar.
Pode entrar.
Ele não vai te morder.
A doutora ainda não chegou.
Tudo bem? Wala lipo.
Wala ali.
Ah.
Não, doutor.
Tudo wala li.
Papanula.
Yeah. Yeah. Vandi Kwai.
Oi, mundo nene.
Só peixe pequeno. Chiwa.
Esse mundo é para
cá. Yeah, so this is the little setup that we have for maternity. Yeah, it works for now, but the idea is to grow to a point that we have a space where people can deliver, can have their Caesars, you can repair your fistulas and all those things in the same building, and they have their own wards. It's a project that is ongoing. It's still in the fundraising stage. And eventually we hope that one day we'll have a bigger space that will allow us to do all these things in the same place. It is very exciting to actually see the number of patients increase over the years as a result of the care that those nurses are able to provide, the care that the surgeons can provide to the patients, and even the interns. They are fairly involved in the care of the moms and the babies. And so we are excited about what this new building can do for us. And hopefully soon we'll be able to do that. Yeah. So, yeah, I think one more thing that I should actually mention because we are here. I'm gonna close the door so that we have quietness. Eu só preciso minuto. So one of the things also that CML is working towards is a surgical training residency program. We want to join the PACS programs in Africa. And that will be a 5-year general surgery that will then allow them to sit for the COSEXA exam, which is the accrediting body for the College of Surgeons in our region. So that is a goal that we are working towards. We have now started the process of expanding the hospital, so we meet the infrastructure requirement. And then after that, we'll then start working on other things to get there. We have the 3 general surgeons right now that are required. We probably will need a couple more. We will need to have people that can come and volunteer the services, different specialties especially, to come for 2 or 4 weeks to teach the residents. And then we just, with the expansion, a lot of these things could happen in the next 5 years, Lord willing. We'll be able to have Angolans being trained in Angola, and then, Lord willing, they'll be serving Angolans as well. It's one of the goals of PACS is to train Africans so that they stay in the African continent, and that way improve the quality of care that the mission hospitals can provide. And right now, PACS has trained over 500 surgeons since 2003, I believe, or 97. I'm sorry, since 97. So we actually had the first PACS resident was from Angola, and he has worked here for a little bit. He now works at the government hospital, and he does a wonderful job with the things that he learned during his time there. So it's another exciting development that we would ask for prayer for, and it's a big project. It will require a lot of effort from all of us to make it happen. And if you remember about it, pray about it. If you're a doctor or a surgeon that feels like they want to come and train people in Angola, you're very welcome to come and visit us. We will make sure that you have a good time here, that you'll have a fulfilling time, and that your time will not be wasted as you come and serve here. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to watch a little bit about our ministry here in Lubango, Angola at CEML. Thank you for just taking that time. And we pray that if the Lord touched your heart as you listen to this, that you'll come and visit. And if not, that you'll help people that want to come get here. And that, pray for this work, that you will grow, that will reach the people that it needs to reach, especially those that are less privileged, those that really need the help. And also that the gospel will continually be preached and will find places in people's hearts as they seek their physical help. We pray that you will be blessed by everything that you saw.